So we covered the basics of what goes into building an app, didn't we? How we take our raw data and build an app from it. What we didn't talk about is that kind of really nailing in that idea of the app strategy and the point of why the current push or the way these data pipelines kind of focuses your mind in the wrong way. Okay. If you build your Power BI estate where everybody has 10 apps to go to, you've got a problem. The reality is you're building apps that are going to serve a group of people. Shouldn't that app or those apps be combined into one app for that group of people, drawing together the multiple report streams that they need to access for their job? Maybe it's a radical concept, or maybe this is actually single pane of glass reporting. Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching today. This topic is one of those areas that we have lots of discussions with clients about, and it's normally because we've built this report, it's this way. We've built this report, it's this way. And that's what kind of goes through. We've built a report as a single product, and that's the product that we've delivered into the business. And there's not been an attempt to really bring it all together. And oftentimes as well, it isn't really understood that, do you know what? We can access our data by bringing our app content together into one app as opposed to having multiple apps. Watch and see how this can change your business, save you hours of time in terms of for your business productivity side, but also saves you money because each time people have to go to different places, those places get forgotten. Once they're forgotten, they won't be visited, they won't be touched. You know, the value of your reporting solution is lost. The whole ROI that you're going to get is eroded. Bring everything together and see the benefit. And we drop back to see, well, let's look at this view, which I think is more important in a lot of ways. See, we've already got 3 reports now connected to this semantic model, but they're all in this one workspace, aren't they? But they don't need to be, do they? Because we could go back to here and I could say, well, actually, let me save a copy. And I can pick a different workspace to place this copy in. So we can pick this, pick another one of our New York ones. Let's pick dataset 9. Call it fun. Save that. Okay, so we save the same report to somewhere else. And don't forget, just because it's started as the same report with a different name, you can still go in and edit that report separately and build that report and extend on that report to make it fit the audience where it's published. And this ability to publish to a different location, I think gets missed so much. And this is why, for me, we have such a big issue with this. Oh, let's put lots of folders into our Power BI workspace so we can divide everything up. Because it doesn't work when you're building apps and you're building the deployment side of it. And if we then say, well, we've got this ability to put it into different workspaces, then our app that we're going to build, it should be focused around the function of the person. So what is this function that we've got in our business? And that's why, if we come back to here, and we have a look back at this again, let's just, because we need to validate and prove to you that this is done, isn't it? Let's go view details. Okay, if we look at the lineage, see we've got this, downstream, downstream, upstream. That one's missing, isn't it? That one, I've just thought. It should be there. We can see we've got DS data core in there already, so that's strange. Might need a refresh before it's going to pick up that it's got somewhere else. But that's interesting as well, isn't it? If it's not picking it up in this case, right, and I think it's just okay, it hasn't been refreshed, but if it's not going to pick it up, how are you seeing exact usage of your semantic model? And this is, I've always had a bone of contention. I know there are tools out there that say, oh yeah, we can categorically redo everything. I don't believe it. Okay, and I'm sorry, that's me. Because in the bigger deployments where we've had 100 connected reports that we've got to it, I know we're missing another 100 or so spreadsheets that are connected, and I can't prove that spreadsheets connect to it. I can't find those connections when I look a lot. But that's me, and I'm a doubting Thomas in a lot of ways for these things. But you want to be careful, don't you? So we might never be able to know exactly what this is used for at all times, because if it's a case of, until the refresh comes through, somebody starts building a brand new whiz-bang critical report for the business today, and I don't see it, and I make changes. So do not assume that this list is perfect. Be kind of the word of wisdom there. Be prepared to accept this might not be everything. Okay. Well, yeah, let's go back. Okay, so we've pieced this together. We've got this. We built something that in theory we could say, right, this is going to be an app. But we were discussing our app strategy, weren't we? And this was why, if you go back a couple of seasons, we looked at doing this idea of a single source of truth, that this is the point, isn't it? When you bring everything together, and we brought everything into our senior leadership team app, and we brought together information about bike sales, about bike hire, New York taxis, and the inspections into some dashboards and things like that. We were piecing it together for it. Everything that this senior leadership team was going to look at was centered in that dashboard. And you can see all these are linking to different locations. Yeah, so we've got the data model workspace for the New York City bikes, data model workspace demo models. Okay, and I think yellow taxis might be in the same one. Yellow taxis, and we've got the park plan model. So we've been able to pull everything together. None of these are related. But from our audience perspective, they don't need to know. They don't care. I need to see this data, put it one place, so there's one link for them to go to. For our service desk, all they have to worry about is, I'll make sure that people in the senior leadership they get access to this app. This is what they need. Okay, they've got one app. We could do the same for our directors, for our managers. It might be 2 or 3 apps they might have at most, but you want to try and limit the number of apps people have. If you think, I'm going to have an app for every report that this person's going to need, well, that'll be fun for them, won't it? I want to remember, which one do I need to go to today? Oh, this one, that one. It's no wonder people start to pull it together into Excel, because then it's all there at their fingertips. When it's all there at their fingertips because you've got a single app, you getting the picture? We're getting the picture? Good. That's what we like to see. Okay, so we've got that. We've built this layered structure, haven't we? That's going to allow us to say, we've used our deployment pipeline to get the core data structure, that semantic model, published to a location. We can see, if we go back to our data model workspaces, to our area at the end of the deployment pipeline, we can see, if we view the deployment pipeline, it's saying, well, this one's not in elsewhere. Of course it's not. Okay? See, buildings, these two are not there because they're only present here, not the same as source. So it's happy for us to have additional content there, but it's difficult to say at this level what that content is and what I should be doing. Because really what you'd be saying is, if we can't click there, but we could say, right, from here, go to test, we can't deploy from production. So we can't roll it back, can we, this way, which is the problem. We could, of course, save a copy to the lower area and then bring it through. But would we be doing ourselves any favors having it in different places? Are we just going to use our test space as a bit of an intermediary where it's just going to and not really be tested? Let me know down below what you think. Is this making sense to you? So we're in here now. We've got the ability, we can build this new report content. Okay, and we could be anywhere. We come do this. And then the final thing, this is the bit we need to be really clear about, is we're going to create the app. Okay, so we're going to create this app for here. And again, as I say, I wouldn't be creating apps for a particular report pack, because what you're going to do is create lots of apps for people. And people don't want lots of apps. They want one app that they need to go to. Okay, so we come through here. Got to give it a description. This is a sample. Okay, I really recommend you put logos in, so it's well worth getting some nice circular logos or the like that you can then use as your logos for your business. Could be at a division level, department level, something like that, just to really help put together what it is. And of course, don't forget, okay, use your domains as much as possible as well. Right? They're well worth it, and they then also flag at the workspace level exactly what's going on. But let's see what they're going on with this. So we've got this. Okay, we're not going to put any advanced settings in, but you can do it. It's well worth thinking about ticking this box here. We're going to move this in so we can try and hide you from there to install the app automatically. So it's well worth it. That makes the app available to the person immediately. Otherwise, it's published in a catalog. So they have to go to apps and then browse the catalog. Oh, this is the one I want. Okay, if it's core line of business apps, then you're following the idea of having one app per person, tick the box. If it's then that, historic, what did the cafeteria serve every day from the 1980s to today, I'd probably not automatically publish that app to everybody. I think we can all agree there's some common sense to it, right? There's lots that we can do in here. And of course, we've got your ability to have users share it. Copilot. My views on Copilot are long, and I've covered an awful lot of it. We'll do a lot more discussions in it at a later video. Okay. Once you've got that, okay, we're going to add the content. And again, just remember, add the content. We're going to pick buildings and test. Okay, for all these are still the same report. We can see, here we go. We've got 2 reports. Okay, you can have one about your incidents, you can have lots of things like that, but it's then all structured. And because we can do things like add content, so we can add sections, so we could say this is going to be buildings for the sake of it, and have 2 or 3 reports about buildings there. We could then say we're going to add another section, and this is going to be inspections. Okay, and put inspections in there. So you start to structure your app layout to make it an experience that's front and center. And most importantly as well, of course, don't forget to use dashboards. Okay, dashboards in Power BI are completely misunderstood, because outside Power BI, dashboard means report in Power BI sense. It's just like a front page of a report. Dashboards in Power BI are your menu system that will gear up and steer people in the right direction for what content they're looking for. So if you build your dashboard, and I'll go to one that I've built before for this, and again, I'm really not... Okay. So we've got this idea that we can see everything in one place for it. And everything is a menu system that ties back to a specific report page that's relevant to what I want. And in the context of an app, that's a really structured way of viewing it, because you've got the menu on the left. It's a mirror, isn't it? The menu on the left that's going to have everything that you need there for you, so you can pick and choose what you want. And then because you've got that menu system, it makes it easy to go back to the one that you need to go back to. And all your reports, I don't need to know where they all come from, because it's all here. And I know I'm just going to start my day. This is where I need to go. That's where I need to look at. And we can see we can put lots of things together. there's issues with this, right? In terms of you're stuck with this kind of horrible layout of tiles, and the tiles can be variable sized based on this is a single tile, this is 3x1, yeah, 3x3. You kind of get the idea, or 3x2, no, 3x3. Okay, so but you can build and structure these tiles, and they can also link back or link to other. Yeah, sorry, they can also link to other dashboards. So you can have your main dashboard with everything in, and then you can have your canteen daily food orders from 1988 to now. It might be on a second page dashboard, a bit hidden, as it were. But you can piece together that app-like experience for people. And because these are all interactive and integrative, I don't need to worry too much about what I'm seeing. You know, I can come through and say, oh, what does that res finish? I can click on that number and get taken straight to a report page that discusses that information that I need to know. Now, it's kind of straight there, relevant to me. There's no, oh, where do I need to go? What do I need to go? Where do I need to find? And if you think, if I put through for here, if you remember, we have 3 different data sets, well, 4 different data sets now with the parkrun stuff in it. If that's 4 different apps, how can I get that full picture of what's going on across my business? And this was the whole point. If we were doing New York, it could be a case saying, I want to see what's going on in Manhattan in terms of taxis, in terms of bike hire, in terms of water towers. I want to know it all. And I want it in one place. Here it is in one place. So it's worth doing. Put the time, go into that. Okay. And lastly, of course, for building our app, we add the audiences. You've got your default audience, and I'd always say use teams. Okay, so we can come okay, so I'm going to pick Geordie Intelligence Activity, which is our it's our SharePoint group. We're going to add that, publish it to there. Okay, simple. We've now got the app, right? And because we had it install automatically, it'll install automatically for everybody who's in that SharePoint group. Perfect. I was kind of just preparing a few things, and I saw this error come through, and I thought, right, we're going to have a look at this error, because it's really important for you to see these things and understand that not all errors are actually errors and things that are a problem. And you can then think, well, do we do something different? Would there be something we should be trying instead there? So let's have a look at what the error is. Let's see if we can fix it quickly and easily, because I think we will. That's partly, I think it's a quick fix. But we'll go through that methodology and that mindset for really what we've put in place across our data set. So what's happened? Let's go to this gold area that we've got. Okay, so our New York water towers, this was supposed to be, this is where our data model is going to live, isn't it? And we can see we've got all the information here that we would need for it. Okay, and we can see this data flow here, our main data flow, there's an error there. So what do we need to do? Let's click on it, and you see it brings up this window, and we're going to go and click to download the information, and that download will appear at the top. Okay, download this. Let's click to open it. Let's bring it across here so we can see. Okay, and these are always a little bit, I'm not quite sure what they all mean, kind of in terms of the way they appear. But the issue is always going to be this one. So you look for the error here. Okay, and we can see we've got this one where current operation has failed. Okay, so these ignore. Okay, so these ones, they're irrelevant. This is saying, had an error, we couldn't proceed because of that error. So what's the error? So in this case, it says the server's returned a 503 error. Server's not available. Okay, so potentially it's just the server's down. This is an issue that you'll get with API keys. You know, the API key goes, you fire the API, it's not been responded to, 503 error. Okay, or it's, multiple things like that. So the first thing we do is let's just retry it. Okay, just hit retry, see, is it something that we need to do something about, or is it just it happened to hit at a bad time, or it was too busy, or a multitude of things. You can also get things depending on what APIs you're using, where potentially you've got, do you know what, you've used too much. you've used too many API calls. Things like that will be in here. So it's well worth having a look and seeing what's actually going on. Let's zoom out. Let's go back to our Power BI environment. Okay, Power BI service, here it is. We can see this is the problem. So let's just, on this drop down, let's hit drop down. So that's fine. We'll go to settings, do it from here. Under refresh, we can see it is. So we've got the schedule where it's going to go through on Saturday and Sunday. So it's failed on a Saturday, so it'll be picked up on the Sunday. So should be okay if it's all fine. What we really want to do, isn't it, is just to go through and just let's refresh this data, so this one now. I'm going to click on refresh now. Okay, that's the little refresh now button. And let's see what happens. Okay, so it's thinking about it. If you remember the last time it took 14 seconds for it went, yeah, forget it, not happening, not going to happen. So we'll wait a little bit, we can check. 22 seconds has elapsed. I'd say it's probably going to go through, but we'll wait. Okay, so we can see here, it's finished and it's gone through successfully. So we go back to refresh history, we can see it's completed. So it was just a case of bad timing on the server. Okay, we could look and see if this happens again, maybe adjust the refresh time. We're saying 9 o'clock at night, potentially that's a really bad time given the time difference. We could put it early in the morning or later in the evening. Anything's possible. And it's just, that's a bad time. So we'll monitor in this case. In terms of it as well, though, we could have got to the point where we would say, so in terms of the issue, we could have decided that what we would want to do is to set something up in Power Automate that will fix this. So what we could do is we could say, we're going to create an automated cloud flow. So this is NYC refresh completes. Refresh completed. Struggling with these things. Okay. And then the trigger is this is going to be the Power BI data flow. Okay. When a data flow refresh completes. So we're going to select that, hit create. So straight away, what do we want to do? We're going to pick where the group type is workspace and the group. Next, change the connection. Pick that. We're going to paste in our group name. Yep. Which data flow do we want? On this one, so we've now said, right, we've locked this to this data flow when it refreshes. Okay, we can then put in and say new condition. Goodness me. So I can condition. Okay. So at this point we can say, well, what we're looking for, let's pick a value and say refresh status. Refresh status failed. Okay, so it's failed. Do something. We can easily do this, can't we? So we can do. Dang, goodness me. Okay, so click on here. Here, refresh status equal to failed. Do something. Okay, so that's true. So if it's failed, what we should do then is refresh a data flow. Okay, we're just going to refresh the data flow. If it's failed, let's refresh the data flow again. So come back, say it's going to be a workspace. I want it to be this one, and the data flow to be refreshed is this one. Okay, so we're saying, well, let's just try again. Okay, we could say, actually, do you know what we should do is, okay, so we'll delay. We're going to delay it for 15 minutes. Okay, so we're saying potentially the server's not available. Let's delay 15 minutes for trying it. Data flow refresh completes. Okay, so we can we've got that basic piece done now. What we could also do, though, is we could say, right, at this point as well, if you remember, we had a problem, didn't we, where we were waiting half an hour to refresh the other one. So we could turn around here and say, well, let's refresh the main data set as well. So we've got the options, okay? So we could do that, we could add that to it. Okay, for this, let's just save this. Okay, let's go back. And this is now available. This will now pick up and test and run next time it refreshes. If it fails, it'll wait 15 minutes and then retry the data flow. We could go further, so we could also put in place a SharePoint list or something that's going to record the event. So in terms of this was success, this was failure, and you can then put these together and have it update those. When you do that, what you can do as well is you can combine and put in refresh counts, so you can kind of get the latest version. What was the refresh count on it? If it's failed, increment it once. If it's different, reset it to 0. Those kind of things you can do. So you can then actually get this period where you start to see, right, this is what's going on, and you can audit what's happening in your system much more easily. Don't think we need to for this, but it's well worth you seeing what goes on with doing it. So what do you think? When you bring your app content together into a single location, it changes things because suddenly everything is available. Okay? It makes your life harder in terms of, I'm a developer, I'm going to build these things, because suddenly you have to think about a multi-layered experience people are going to access. So you bring your top stuff into a top tier dashboard that's then available. You have sub dashboards, child dashboards below that are there for the more nuanced things people need. You know, those things I need once a quarter, you know, once a year we do this, these sort of things. Oh, what was the historic? Those are the areas that we put in those child dashboards. But it's built much more around the experience of the person doing the job. So I know we showed you kind of like a top tier boardroom level. This is our dashboard that the board can see. That's ideally going to cover the whole business. You can do that at a lower level as well. You know, so your directors, your team leads, your managers can all have dashboards built around them. And it's fine. So, well, these are managers who are just in, say, the contact center. Why would they want? Because they're going to see things like there'll be subsets of the HR reports that they need. You know, what's the staffing looking like? You know, what's the performance ratings for our staff? There's going to be, in terms of actually what's going on with the staff in terms of the day-to-day. Are they, you know, are we making KPIs? Are we doing what we need to be doing? All of that in one location is incredibly powerful. So it is well worth taking the time and putting together these apps that are going to really be built around the experiences of those people working in your organization. So do it. Take the time. Review where your app strategy is. Have a look today. What is the expectation of people in your business? Look at you. You know, are you going to a single location to see all the reports you need? Or do you have to go, I need to go that one for this one. Well, Carol's report's over there. Steve's report's there. Jeff's is there. But they're all in Power BI. It's really good. But why don't we bring them together? Use apps. Structure your business data reporting around the audience that's going to need to use it and leverage it to get the most out of your business. Because it's not as simple as just saying, well, it makes it easier. It also actually puts potentially competing information side by side so people can see. And it then becomes much easier to say, oh, wait, an increase here potentially is a decrease there. We need to understand these two actually do work together. That if they're in separate locations and you never see them together, you won't see them together. This makes sense. Yeah? Okay. So as I say, if you want to know more about doing this, if you think, right, actually, these guys do know what they're talking about, get in touch. Okay. We've got a link down below. You can schedule a meeting with Geordie Consulting and they'll help move your business to the next level with your apps. For now, though, stay safe. Take care. Ta-da.